welcome to the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay.
And I'm Olivia Richards.
And we're from ShowRatings.tv, where you can rate and review all your favorite TV shows, including the new series we're talking about today,
Blackish.
According to ABC's website, Andre Dre Johnson has a great job, beautiful wife, 4 kids, and a colonial home in the burbs, but has success brought too much assimilation for this black family? Oh, Olivia, what did you think of the Blackish premiere? Ugh. That sounds weird to say.
Name, I feel so, because I'm so white, and I'm sitting here like, okay, all right. No, really but honestly, I liked what they're doing. I really like what they're doing, where they're kind of drawing on just unfair stereotypes, and they're kind of trying to take what we've seen from like failed shows that try to cover like the culture and everything like that. I like that they're trying to kind of turn that on its head and put their own spin on it in a way that's not going to be like offensive or play on racial stereotypes, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, comedy pilots are always rough. You know, they're always you always kind of have to grade on a curve. Very rarely is a comedy pilot all that funny. That being said, I did laugh a couple times at this pilot, and I thought, I agree with you, like the intent is really good here, and I like everyone involved. I like Anthony Anderson in this role. I like Lawrence Fishburne. I like, who's the actress who plays the wife? I know her name. It's going to come to me, but it is not at the moment. I'll get it later. I like her, though. And, yeah, and so, yeah, I mean, I think this is Tracy Ellis Ross is her name. I knew I'd get it. I think this is a very promising show, and surprise, surprise, it is a hit. It debuted to over 10 million viewers in a 3.0 in the coveted demo, and that shocks me because I thought that that we as white people being uncomfortable saying that name would just apply to the whole nation and no one would watch it, and that was the opposite. Everyone watched it, so that's kind of exciting, right?
No, it's really good. I think that says a lot about what the show was offering.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost, watching the pilot, it's almost a showcase for Anthony Anderson, who's at the center of it as the father, who seems to be the only character in this pilot, at least, who has a real problem with the assimilation issue. Like everyone else, except maybe Lawrence Fishburne, who's only in it for a few lines. Everyone else seems pretty cool with their situation and happy, and Anthony Anderson is just progressively freaking out more and more. And I kind of enjoyed that. I thought he was really good in this. What did you think of him and the rest of the cast?
Honestly, I really liked the relationship that Anthony Anderson has with his wife in the show, because she's sort of like the voice of reason. Yes. So when he's, just going like way off into the deep end, and it's really funny because I like that he's simultaneously like complaining about the stereotypes he's facing at work. Like I know they were gonna promote him to the senior vice president, yes, but they wanted to urbanize his show. But then he's also perpetuating stereotypes himself. So he's working for and against the cause that he wants to promote and teach his children, and his wife is just sitting there like, what are you doing? Like, you are making absolutely no sense right now. Just like, you need to back it down like 12,000 notches.
Yeah. Well, after watching so many shows, dramas in particular, where the female character is sort of turned into the antagonist because it wants us to root for the protagonist and the woman is against him, I found this really refreshing. I found that relationship really refreshing, where he is so clearly the one freaking out, and she's so clearly the one with like a level head and perspective on the situation, that even though he's the central character of the show, you're not like just rooting for him against her. Like the audience is clearly being led to take her side, which is a dynamic that I think is a little bit subtle, but I really liked about this, and I feel it made me feel better watching it. Like I wasn't just rooting for this one guy to have his way. So yeah, I really thought that was good. I really liked that. Were there any moments of this pilot, any jokes or scenes that you thought worked well?
I really like the scene that Anthony Anderson's character shares with his son, his like older son, who's trying out for the field hockey team.
Yes.
Because the kid, I think he's going through things that are very relevant to his age group, but also it's like on top of that, you see him struggling with this cultural identity, and it's something that his father is sort of imposing on him. So you kind of see that even though like the father, I think he means well, it's not necessarily the right way to go about teaching his son how to feel about himself and the way that his son should be able to perceive who he is. Like he's not letting his son decide for himself. So I thought that was a really, really good way to bring in that conflict without like making it overblown and making it into something that's like just not, yeah, that's not going to work for the show.
Yes, absolutely. And on that, the same sort of note, because we're talking a lot about the tone of the show and the way the premise sets the show up. And another thing I like is, you know, so many of these shows are like fish out of water shows where a family moves in that is different in some way. And then the entire show is about the people around them reacting to them and learning to accept their differences. And Blackish, in a really like clever way, turns that around to where the central idea of the show is that the world is too accepting. That the older son who's starting out for field hockey is having too easy of a time getting into quote unquote white culture, and that the father is so worried that he's just going to be enveloped by it that he's trying to pull back the reins. And I think that that's like a really neat perspective to have, right? Like that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, it's a very real world way of looking at it because I think that television likes to look at things like this in a very black and white. Okay, that was bad.
Pun intended.
You know what I mean? And in a really sort of like polarized look at the issue. I think it's good because you're seeing real, like something that you feel like you could just walk in and see like a real father and son having this conversation, and both of them have valid points. You're not really rooting for anyone. You just are seeing where two people with different perspectives are coming from.
Yeah, and in that way, I think this pilot is about bigger issues than just, you know, people hanging out at a coffee shop and telling jokes. And, you know, like this, it does feel like a kind of cool. It's cool that this show is succeeding, at least after one episode. Like it's a show that you want to root for because it does have a perspective, and it does have I think bigger ambitions than just being a funny comedy. Going forward, is there anything you think it can improve, or how do you think this show can sustain the successful start that it had?
I think if they stick to just like the realness and like the writing, I thought was really, really good. The only thing that I was not a fan of was kind of the cheesy voiceover that they did. I was not a fan. For me, that kind of like, I don't know, it didn't work, and it sort of made some, like, a show that was really, really working up until that point, it, like, a little bit just kind of cheesy, and, like, it wasn't really necessary to have that voiceover going.
Right. I don't know if I needed the hip-hop bro mitzvah at the end. I don't know if I needed that. I get it. It's the pilot, and you kind of want to have, like, a big musical number, like a feel-good musical number to finish everything off. Like, I understand it was, like, a logical conclusion. At the same time, I feel like this show is not going to be a giant comedic set-piece show. You know, it's not going to be one that they set up this giant thing and have party music blaring. Like, it's much more, like you said, a show about the relationship between a father and a son, and a husband and a wife. And so I hope that it doesn't feel the need in future episodes to like end on like a big event, like to have big events happening, because I think that this show can succeed the same way that all sitcoms which have succeeded have, which is just as people living their everyday life and dealing with everyday problems. Like that's how sitcoms that last 6 seasons do it, and I think all the pieces are here for Blackish to be that.
No, exactly.
Do you have any similar shows? If someone's thinking about watching this, maybe scared off by the name, is there anything similar like that you can compare this to?
Honestly, this is the first I've seen of this, which is really weird because normally I can find sort of like a trace, but like this is the first thing I've seen where I haven't been watching and like face palming because I'm like, oh my god, they're going to do something that's just going to be like really stereotypical, and they're going to be like using race as part of the joke, which has been like a pitfall of shows that have tried to do this in the past. Yes. But this is really, really fresh and really unique, and I think that ABC picked up a show that's going to be something special.
Yeah. This almost feels like an NBC show to me. Like ABC, I normally wouldn't give enough credit to have a show with this perspective. To me, it feels like NBC is usually the more progressive network in terms of putting stuff like this on the air. And so I'm a little confused as to why it's on ABC. But,
yeah.
But kudos to ABC anyway for getting it on the air, and for I mean, it's a hit. I mean, it's not like hopefully those ratings sustain, and this isn't like some kind of public service project like, NBC keeping Parks and Rec on the air for all these seasons, even though it had low ratings, just because it's so beloved. If this show matures in the way I think it's going to, and the ratings stay good, this could be really like one of the trademark TV shows, like one of the defining TV shows, and that's very, very exciting, and a lot more than what I had expected from it. So. Good times all around, I think.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling good about this one. All right, so final verdict. Olivia, thumbs up or thumbs down on Blackish?
This one is a thumbs up for me.
Me too. A hearty thumbs up. Probably, I would say, going to end as the best comedy pilot of the season.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm not seeing a lot of competition in that regard. I don't think the McCarthys on CBS is going to be competing with this. All right, Olivia, how can people keep up with you?
I'm on Twitter at RichardsOlivia.
All right. And that concludes this episode of the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable. We invite you to check out this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts at southgatemediagroup.com and to read about, rate, and discuss all your favorite shows at ShowRatings.tv. You can follow me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV, Olivia at RichardsOlivia, and ShowRatings at ShowRatingsTV. Till next time, thanks for listening.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.